Mission.
Hi, this is Joel Persinger. I'm the Gun Guy. Thank you very much for all of your support of GunGuyTV and of me. Frankly, I'm very, very grateful. Obviously, maybe not so obviously, I don't make my living on YouTube. I'm actually a working stiff. My wife and I own a kind of a mom and pop small business, and that's what I actually do for a living. This is something I do because I'm passionate about it. Now, I wanted to talk with you briefly to address the whole Patreon thing. I wasn't going to do anything about it, but now I'm kind of feeling like I need to because I got a comment on one of my videos that I saw yesterday. I don't know when the comment came in, but I noticed it yesterday, and it said this, or something to this effect. I don't agree with what Patreon is doing to conservatives, and so I'm not going to support Patreon, and I'm not going to support any creators that use Patreon, so I'm unsubscribing from your channel. And he unsubscribed. Okay, well, I get it. People unsubscribe for lots of reasons, and I understand the desire to cause financial harm to Patreon. Excuse me one second. I do need some coffee. I've been up for a while, and my voice is going, so forgive me for that. By the way, great cup. I know it's a change of subject. Got that from Bass Pro Shop. Here's the deal with Patreon, okay? Just to be real with you. Yeah, Patreon has been, they've banned some conservative voices. Milo, gosh darn it, I can't say his last name, and some others. And they've banned them and said that it was content violations or whatever. Let's just be completely honest about it. Patreon is not a conservative, constitutional supporting, Second Amendment supporting website. It's just not. Neither is YouTube. Neither is Twitter or Facebook or any of them. The truth is that corporate America, by and large, is run by people who are against us, not for us, where the Second Amendment is concerned. That's just the truth. And if we stop supporting each other by using any corporate tool, we're going to find that we can't support each other at all. And that's kind of the issue that I have with the whole banning everybody on Patreon thing. Lately, what's happened is people have bagged me on Patreon and said, I'm not supporting you anymore because I'm upset with Patreon. So let me clarify a couple of things just so that you know. I don't know the exact percentages, okay, but they're really, really small. So let's say, for example, that you had been contributing on Patreon $10 a month, just for the sake of argument. And you say, well, I'm not going to contribute to GunGuyTV anymore because I don't want to help Patreon. And you take away the $10 a month and you say, bag you GunGuyTV, I'm going away, and you go away. And you think that you've caused some serious harm to Patreon by doing that. Well, the truth is about $9.50 of that, or roughly, right around in there, went to GunGuyTV. The other 50 cents went to Patreon. So you haven't harmed Patreon in the slightest. What you've done is harm GunGuyTV. So you think you've caused irreparable harm to the company that you don't want to support, but what you've done is you've caused irreparable harm to the individual or the channel or the creator that you do want to support. That's not necessarily productive. Here's the other thing that happens. And don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining and I'm not whining at you. I'm trying to explain the reality of the way it works, because we do get in this mode sometimes when we're boycotting or whatever that we forget how the world really works. Well, this is how it really works. So just so that you know, and if you choose to say, I don't want to support anybody on Patreon anymore, even though now I know how it really works, okay, fine. But I think it's important to have the knowledge and understand what we're doing when we're doing it, not just do things as knee-jerk emotional reactions to things that offend us. Likewise, you'll find that I've had this happen three or four times now, where I've had people who say, I'm not going to support you on Patreon, and they leave. And then they rush over to Amazon to shop Amazon using our Amazon link. And they'll send me a note saying, by the way, I didn't support you on Patreon, but I did make a big purchase on Amazon. I hope you got the money. Well, thank you. Yes, we did get the money, but here's the problem. Amazon is probably more actively anti-Second Amendment than Patreon is. And here's the other thing. When you shop Amazon using our Amazon link, guess what? The vast majority of that money goes to Amazon. We get a tiny little chunk of it. So it's exactly the reverse of what happens when you support us on Patreon. Likewise, I'll have people who won't support us on Patreon, won't shop on Amazon, but they'll go on the website to use the donation link and use PayPal to donate to GunGuyTV. Apparently not realizing that PayPal is in itself a very anti-gun company. We use them because we don't have any other choice. So this gets down to the reality of it is no matter which one of these platforms we choose to use, the overwhelming majority of them are anti-gun. And we use them because we know we can use them to further our own goals because we're able to do it. I'm able to be on YouTube, so I do. Let's talk about YouTube. So that'll probably clarify it a little bit for you too. People don't like YouTube, especially firearms people and Second Amendment people don't like YouTube. I don't like YouTube, to be honest with you. I'd much rather have my entire audience go someplace else, but they don't. As a matter of fact, when YouTube was actively demonizing gun channels, much more than they do now, and really they issued some strikes to GunGuyTV on videos that didn't make any sense and didn't violate their community guidelines at all, and they ended up taking the strikes away, but there was a risk that GunGuyTV was going to go away at that time. And at that time, I had viewers all over the place saying, you got to go over here, go to this platform, go to that platform. So as a result, we are currently on YouTube, Facebook, both of which are very anti-gun, Vimeo, because we actually pay for the subscription every month. It costs me several $100s a year, not every month, every year. It costs me several $100s a year for that subscription to be able to put the volume of videos I have up on Vimeo. We're also on Dailymotion, which is out of France and more of a European site. We're on BitChute, which I have to be very careful to say just exactly right, and we're on the Utah Gun Exchange. Now, we're not on Full 30 because I've contacted Full 30 2 or 3 times in the past and asked them if we could put GunGuyTV on there and been completely ignored. Now, that may be because they're busy. I get it. I'm not complaining about that. I'm just saying, if you're about to write in the comments, go on Full 30, I'm not going to go on Full 30 because it's not open to me to go there. If they ever want me to go there, they'll let me know. I'm not going to chase them around the planet. I've already tried to contact them 3 or 4 times and been ignored by them. Okay, so I get it. Maybe they don't like my channel or I'm too small or whatever. At some point or other, if they want me on Full 30, I'll go there. Here's the point behind the whole thing. Look at all of these nice little platforms I just put up on the screen for you. There's all the places that we are. Watch this. You want to know who watches me on those platforms other than YouTube? Less than 1% of the people who watch my channel. The overwhelming majority, 99% plus, watch GunGuyTV on the very platform they say they hate, YouTube. And so instead of uploading the channel to one platform, I now upload it to 5 or 6 or however many there are, which takes that many more times as much time to do for what? So that 1/10 or 2/10 of 1% can feel good about watching me elsewhere when the vast majority of people watch me on YouTube. So if I abandon YouTube entirely, GunGuyTV would just die. The only way that's going to change is if YouTube bans all gun content, and then people will be forced to go to other platforms. Frankly, I watch YouTube because I like to watch Good Mythical Morning, because there are musical acts like Voctive and so on that I enjoy listening to, and I like to watch their videos. There's lots of people producing videos on YouTube that I enjoy watching that don't happen to be gun channels. So I watch YouTube even though I don't like YouTube. Why? Because YouTube is the place where everybody is, and YouTube is the place where people that are non-shooters and non-gun people actually discover videos on shooting. Every day I have videos from people or comments from people and emails from people who say, I just started shooting and I really like your channel and I learned a lot. Well, that's what being an ambassador for the shooting sports is. But in the same way, we use YouTube, which is anti-gun, to get the message out about the Second Amendment and about the shooting sports and about hunting and about self-defense and about the right to keep and bear arms. We use a platform that doesn't like us, and we use the auspices of that platform to get that voice out and get it heard. In the same way, I use Patreon and Amazon and PayPal because they're the big gorillas in the room where that's concerned, to help support the channel. I don't like them either, but I'm happy to pick their pocket a little bit and support a channel that I do like, which happens to be this one, or other channels that I like. So I bring this up to you not to complain to you, but to make sure that you understand that when you bag gun channels on Patreon and say, I'm not supporting you because I don't want to support Patreon, you're not hurting Patreon a lick. You think you are. I'm here to tell you, you're not. You're not. That's the truth of it. You're not hurting them at all. They're still going to be there because there's tons of creators creating other content that make them a lot of money. Patreon's not being hurt by you. Whether you're saying, no, I'm not going to support GunGuyTV, or no, I'm not going to support 32 other gun channels, it doesn't matter. You're not hurting Patreon at all. What you're doing is you're hurting gun channels. Now, let's take funding, crowdfunding, or fan funding specifically. When Patreon first became an issue and started, they changed their pricing structure, and they were charging people more. Excuse me one second. People got all up in arms about that and said, I'm not going to support you on Patreon anymore, but I'll support you on Maker Support. Go over there. So I did. I spent 4 or 5 hours, because it's not easy. You got to learn the program and everything else. I built a page on Maker Support because I wanted to do that because so many people said they were going to go over there. You know how many people supported me on Maker Support after I spent all that time and all that effort and all that, and then maintaining it? Nada. Zip, zilch, nobody, not one. A lot of effort for nothing. And then Maker Support, by the way, went belly up. And in the process of going belly up, they didn't pay out to a lot of creators who never got their money. Now I have people saying, leave Patreon, go to this other one over here, the name of which escapes me. The problem is that one supports porn sites and pornography sites. I'm not going to do that. I'm a Christian. I'm a devout Christian. And you may like that or not like that. That's up to you. Okay, we can agree to disagree. But there are some things I will not be involved in, and pornography is absolutely, definitely one of them. Not to mention the fact that my understanding, and just reading some articles, is they're already having trouble with getting PayPal and other financial institutions to accept payments through them and do their business, because those companies don't want to support pornography either, apparently. So that becomes the problem. So look, here's the deal. You can do whatever you wish. It's your money. Do what you want with it. You can watch my channel or not. You can subscribe or not. You can. That's the beauty of having the freedom to choose. There's lots of stuff on YouTube for you to watch, and GunGuyTV is just one of many, many channels to watch, and a very small one at that. I mean, I'm not huge by any stretch of the imagination. So lots of other gun channels. If you don't want to watch mine, I get it, and you have the freedom to do that. Amen. Make your choice and do what you got to do. If you want to help support GunGuyTV financially, you can do it several different ways. But in every case, unless you want to get your checkbook out and write a check and mail it to our office in San Diego, you're going to be using some sort of technological platform that is anti-gun. Because corporate America is anti-gun, and certainly Silicon Valley and all these tech companies and social media companies are absolutely anti-gun. You can't use PayPal to donate because they're anti-gun. You can't use Patreon to help and to enjoy the special content I put up there, the live streams and the podcasts and other things that I do for people, because Patreon is anti-conservative. They're liberal. Well, I get it. Oh, and by the way, you can't use Amazon to buy things and share a little bit of money with us, because Amazon is anti-gun. And don't shop GunGuyTV store either, because that's an Amazon store. And that means Amazon's making some money while we make some money. It doesn't matter what I do. It doesn't matter how I do it. It doesn't matter which platforms I pick. The alternatives to those platforms are not sufficient to replace them. The alternatives to YouTube exist. Full 30, Utah Gun Exchange, BitChute, 2AVid, and others. But even if you added up the audience on all of them and put them all together, they wouldn't measure up to 1/10 of the audience on YouTube. That's the problem. The alternatives aren't there. When they are there, hey, when they're viable, I'll jump on them and I'll go. But in the meantime, I'm going to continue to use Patreon because that's the tool that's available to me. I'm going to continue to urge people to shop using Amazon and using our Amazon link because that's the tool that's available to me. I'm going to continue to use PayPal so people can donate to the channel because that's the tool that's available to me. And if that makes you mad and you don't want to support me anymore, okay, that's your choice. But at least now you know how it works, and you know the reality of the situation. You're not hurting Patreon by bagging GunGuyTV or the military channel or Polar Tactical or anybody else. The only people you're hurting are the ones that you want to support, which is the gun channels you're trying to support. That's the reality of it. That's the truth of it. Now, I've said that. If I made you mad, there's nothing I can do about that. Truth is what it is. And then you get to choose what you want to do. You can support us on Patreon, or you can do these other things or not. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to continue to produce videos anyway, even if I have to do it out of my own pocket. It's just going to be an awful lot harder to do without the support, to be honest with you, because I'm not a wealthy person. My wife and I are not rich. We're just working people. We're regular, average, middle-class working people. That's what we are. So there you are. Well, I'm sorry to have bothered you with this on New Year's Eve. I hope you have a wonderful time this holiday. Please be safe out there. And tomorrow we'll start 2019, which will be an exciting year, a scary year, and I think a victorious year. We'll win some battles, we'll lose some. But I'll still be here with you until God says I'm not. Have a wonderful week, have a wonderful holiday, and whatever you do, wherever you go, please be safe.